Today on Locked On Phoenix Suns, new year, new me. However, new year, same Phoenix Suns. Let's go.
You are Locked On Suns, your daily Phoenix Suns podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up? Welcome into Locked On Phoenix Suns. I am Benjamin Garcia, credentialed media member covering your Phoenix Suns on this fine Wednesday, 2025, January 1st. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. However you may be listening, however you may be watching, thank you so much. Before we dive deep into everything Phoenix Suns, Memphis Grizzlies, make sure you click follow or subscribe below and become an everydayer and get locked on to the Phoenix Suns every single day, like many of you guys have done. Today's show is brought to you by our team's newsletter, the Phoenix Suns. This week, you are getting a lot of Brendan content. You'll be able to get some nuggets of information on the Phoenix Suns today. Brandon is off. You'll get something from me today. All things Phoenix Suns, go ahead and scan that QR code and be able to get everything Phoenix Suns from the show, some fantasy basketball help. It is a great place. It is a one-stop shop for all things Phoenix Suns. All right. So obviously, it's just me today. Brendan is a man with plans and life on a New Year's Eve, but not me, the hard worker, always at it for you to give you what is the best show we possibly can. That is obviously a joke. Brendan is taking just today off. He is a hard worker, but either way, we are jumping into it right now. There are a lot of Suns fans that are very frustrated, and I get it. Fans emote. Fan is short for fanatic. They freak out, want to hit the panic button. They want a pound of flesh immediately from this team. I'm numb. I'm so numb. This is what happens when you have a team that isn't connected. This is what happens when you try to microwave success. Although it worked with the Miami Heat, Heatles, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, even that didn't work in its first season. They colossally failed, lost to the Dallas Mavericks. And then what happened? Very next year, they bring it all back, get a guy in Ray Allen, they win the championship. This Suns team is just microwave success. And this is not an indictment on James Jones or an indictment on Matt Ishbia or Josh Barlstein. Like, listen, they obviously have a hand in some of these issues. And more so, I'm not going after Matt Ishbia because the guy put his money where his mouth is and tried to make a team a championship contender. Nothing on him. This is squarely on the players. Look at the Memphis Grizzlies. No Zach Edey. No Ja Morant. Marcus Smart's not in there. And what happened? They won. You know, there was this argument about the Suns when they don't have one of their key players in. Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, one of the big three isn't in. They're not the same team. And I even tried to push the button of like, all right, guys, easy. They shouldn't be this bad. Well, listen, I look like the dummy. This team is just a bad team. And we'll get to in a little bit what needs to be shaken up. But I understand that there's some blame, I guess, that could go to Coach Budenholzer, or there's some blame that you want to point at the Suns front office. I heard today people want the James Jones head on a platter. Like, I get that. This is on the players. The Memphis Grizzlies are a connected team. You know what the Phoenix Suns are? Anything but a connected team. You know, this team for the Memphis Grizzlies, they've been playing together for years. Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., running up and down the court. They ran out Scottie Pippen Jr. He's not even the best Scottie Pippen in his own family. And they ragdolled the Suns. Make no mistake, the final score, 117-112, that is not an indictment on what it looked like. The Suns never had a shot to win this game. They came out immediately flat. Defensive rotations were abysmal. And still you have the fanboys in my Twitter notifications still begging for a response because I said something maybe they didn't like about Kevin Durant, or I said something they didn't like, or that I said about Devin Booker, or their favorite star player. Here, let me settle everyone's nerves. Everyone on this team failed tonight. Yes, Kevin Durant fanboys, he also failed tonight. Had a couple of crucial turnovers down the stretch, didn't make the easy pass. Devin Booker was invisible tonight. Tyus Jones, for stretches, was unplayable. Does that make you feel better? Does that make you feel better? And I hate to go after the occasional listeners, because our listeners are amazing. I've talked with a lot of them, but sometimes I feel like I have to shake people awake. If you think Kevin Durant is without blame, or Devin Booker is without blame in this losing skid and this failure of a Phoenix Suns season, you also are in the wrong. This is not Budenholzer. This team is not going to go as Yusuf Nurkic goes. This team's identity has never been, what's Royce O'Neal going to do? Man, I sure hope he plays tonight. Good player. Grayson Allen, great player. What's happening is the big three is failing this team. Do you understand that? I can't come to grips sometimes when we're talking about a team that was constructed with Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and we're getting upset because Mason Plumlee isn't grabbing a rebound. This team will go as Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal will go. Not your guy, Yusuf Nurkic. Not Royce O'Neal. Not Grayson Allen. And for the love of God, not Tyus Jones's defense. Because tonight was about effort. Defensively, grabbing rebounds. I don't understand with this Suns team that they think they can just walk into a gym and blow out everyone. Newsflash, for the love of God, all of you on this team, no culture. There's an absolute culture issue. You cannot walk into a gym and beat anyone right now. The Memphis Grizzlies rolled out their B team tonight, plus Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane, and you were embarrassed. You want to know why? Because not only are they a connected team, they actually showed up to play. There was real emotion in their game. They're diving for loose balls. They're not taking a game for granted. They could have easily walked into this game and no one would have said anything about it. They could have easily walked into this game and said, we don't have Ja Morant. We don't have Zach Edey. We don't have Marcus Smart. The Suns are getting healthy. It's a road game. Let's just get back to Memphis as soon as we can. We're not going to roll over in this game, but we're not going to expect to win. It's not what happened. Because you want to know why? They have an actual culture. They have a belief in one another. They're not scared of Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant fanboys, here I go. They're not scared of Devin Booker. Tonight was about effort and want to. Offensive rebounds. The Memphis Grizzlies had 16 of them, and it felt like each one was more crucial than the other. It's not just Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane running up and down the floor on you. It's Luke Kennard open again for a three. As I finish this, I think he just hit another one. The Suns should be embarrassed. They should be. This is one of the biggest colossal failures that I've seen. This big three, as constructed when I first saw it, in my opinion, rivaled the Heatles. I just think it did. Obviously, I was wrong. I mean, you can roast me in the comment section for that. I thought it rivaled that. I thought it was better than James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant. I thought it was better than other big threes. I think it's better than Kevin Durant, KG, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. They're a failure, each one of them. And I understand you Kevin Durant fanboys with the Twitter fingers. Oh, Kevin Durant had a good game. He had 30 points tonight. Congratulations. What happened? They still lost. And he had a couple of turnovers tonight that were costly on fast breaks going the other direction. Devin Booker tonight was invisible. Invisible. He had his patented coming back from an injury game where he plays awful. I understand there's rust in this. You make $50 million a year, dude. You got to be better. Tonight's about effort. Effort and want to. I could pull out a statistic for you. I could talk about this. I could talk about that. This team is going to go as Kevin Durant and as Devin Booker and as Bradley Beal goes. And tonight, what happened is their stars failed them. Not so much Kevin Durant tonight. Offensively, he was pretty efficient, and offensively, he was pretty good. Devin Booker stunk it up. Devin Booker was abysmal in this game. And we could say, oh, he's coming back from an injury. We can't have that right now. You have to come back ready to play. If you're not ready to play, sit on the bench. Devin Booker hurt more than he helped tonight, and he has to hear that as well. This team needs a real gut check because right now they're gutless, and they should be embarrassed. This is the biggest failure so far in Arizona sports history, and it's not close. Number 2 was last year. So right now the Suns own, this big 3 owns the 1 and 2 spots and how big of a failure this was. And people want to point the finger at Tyus Jones or point the finger at Mason Plumlee. Dude, your stars are letting you down, whether it's with injuries, whether it's with want to. Listen, man, there's no stat for hustle. But what I'll tell you is Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal before he got injured, no hustle. And they set the tone for this team. Not the other way around. Yusuf Nurkic doesn't set the tone for this team. Ryan Dunn, although he tries, Josh Okogie, or he tries, doesn't set the tone for this team. You know who does? The big 3. Let's get into that Bradley Beal injury. Let's get into some of the bench mob vibe check, as Brendan likes to call it. And let's get into what exactly they did tonight, how that helps, and potentially what the Suns need to do to continue to dig themselves out of this hole. And we'll talk about that next. First, today's show is brought to you by Rocket RX. If you're ready to boost your confidence and take control of the bedroom, Rocket RX has the solution. Imagine feeling more prepared and performing at your best. Rocket RX makes it simple and stress-free. Rocket RX offers FDA-approved treatments for erectile dysfunction at a lower cost that branded alternatives at a lower cost than branded alternatives. No uncomfortable doctor visits or pharmacy trips. Everything is delivered straight to your door in discreet, plain packaging. With Rocket RX, you'll get trusted care from a real U.S. clinical team. Complete a quick 100% online consultation, and you can get your free prescription today. Visit rocketrx.com to get started now. It only takes 2 minutes. Right now, our listeners can get 40% off on their first order when you use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's rocketrx.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for 40% off your first order. Terms and conditions apply. Rocket RX, better sex made simple. All right. Before we talk about some of our guys that we saw today, Josh Okogie, Ryan Dunn, these types of players that I believe need to be inserted to this lineup, we got to talk about Bradley Beal. Now, what I'm about to say is going to come off as controversial. I obviously would never root for an injury. I don't care what team it is. I don't care what player it is. I would never root for an injury. No one wants to see someone go through that, especially a guy like Bradley Beal who's been through a ton. But here's what I will say. I was sitting up in that media section with a couple of other people. It was very bare tonight. A lot of people took the today off, understandably so. It's New Year's Eve. Bradley Beal goes down, and he immediately grabs what I thought was his hamstring, and I immediately said, oh no, not again. No way that this happens. I don't believe in curses, but this might be the curse that sets it off. Bradley Beal grabs what I think is his hamstring, hits 2 free throws, looks to be in a little bit of pain, but I missed it. He comes out, and I'd have Brendan text me, Beal is out, because he saw a tweet from the Sun sideline reporter. I believe her name is Amanda. And then we see it's a hip contusion. Had it been a hamstring, I wouldn't have this reaction. Bradley Beal, if he had a hip contusion, should have came back and played. At the end of the day, it's a bruise. You are either hurt or you're injured. Guys play hurt all the time. We cannot be careful with a hip contusion. I understand that there's maybe a little bit of discomfort, but that is listen, I could be wrong here, and I'm willing to be wrong. But you're either hurt or injured. Now, maybe this injury is worse than I think, and I'm being insensitive, and maybe that's the case. But you got to play, man. You have been out numerous other times for other injuries. We've had, at this point now, a calf, an ankle, an elbow. I believe there was something else in there. I'm just going to go ahead and add something else, and now a hip. It's a hip contusion, man. Your team is flailing. They need you out there. There's this idea that the Suns are better without Bradley Beal. No, they're not. Maybe with all three guys on the floor, I would agree with you. I think there's still an argument to send one Bradley Beal to the bench and the ball moves a little bit better and stagger those guys differently. This team's not better without a former All-NBA player who averaged 30 points a game. I know there's this idea that Bradley Beal's washed. He's not. He's still a good basketball player. So that was my reaction to the Bradley Beal injury. I don't know how bad it is. Maybe it is completely different up until this point. But if it is just a hip contusion, and maybe this isn't even on Brad, maybe this is on the doctors or Budenholzer that just said, we're just going to be careful. Dude, this team needs you. You got to get on the floor and play. At some point, we can't say we have time, especially when this happens all the time. And now you have a Beal injury, and you have a Royce O'Neal injury. And this revolving door at some point, a hip contusion, you just got to get out there. That's a toughness thing. So that was my thoughts on that. Another thing, as we continue to talk about this defensive deficiencies with this team and this lack of effort with this team, listen, I don't care about what the Suns are paying anyone on this roster. If you're not giving effort, I don't want you on the court. And I got to be honest with you. There's been one guy who has, taken my breath away at sometimes how active he's been. I think the Suns, outside of Kevin Durant, who was pretty efficient, obviously pretty good tonight, Ja Okogie is just everywhere. Defensively, he's a pest. He's going after the ball. He is continuously trying to set the tone for this team, but it's not happening because it's Ja Okogie. We got to figure out how to get Ja Okogie more minutes. And if that means he's playing over Tyus Jones or he's playing over Bradley Beal at times, I really couldn't care less. Or if that means you're just going to go small. You're going to sit Mason Plumlee, who, by the way, was again a disaster tonight defensively, and same with Oso Ighodaro at times, was a disaster tonight defensively outside of one block. This team is, they got to make major adjustments. Lean into what you are. And if that means go small, Tyus Jones, Ja Okogie, insert the guy in there. And then it also goes with Ryan Dunn. Listen, I am done being, that's kind of funny. I'm done being done. I am done being polite about this or giving it time. The Suns are falling apart. And it is way worse on the defensive side of the ball. It's why when I tell you I couldn't care less what Devin Booker or Kevin Durant, look, I said both that time, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, I don't care what they do offensively at times. Because defensively, they set the tone of how physical this team is going to be. And night in and night out, there's like three guys that are physical to the point of attack. Royce O'Neal, at times Grayson Allen whenever he's available, Ja Okogie, Ryan Dunn. I am done being polite about this. Ryan Dunn has to start. I'm so over this idea. I don't care what it is. Maybe you go small. Maybe you do a Miami Heat thing. And I understand none of this is ideal. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. The Heat have Bam Adebayo. He plays bigger than he is. Listen, well, I would love to hear another solution. Because at this point, I just want guys in the lineup that want to play. And if that means, and that give effort. And if that means we're going to go small and we're going to roll out Kevin Durant and Ryan Dunn and Royce O'Neal and Bradley Beal and Devin Booker as a starting lineup, and I'm just throwing something out there, do it. Because I'm so sick of this team's inability to be physical, the inability to care. Listen, I bring emotion on here because I care about the content that you guys are receiving, and I want you to understand that your feelings are validated about this Phoenix Suns team. They are failing. They are wasting your time. They aren't physical. But I got to be honest with you. It's hard for me to care off air when it feels like they don't care. If I'm going to all these games, missing, whatever it is, because this is my job, right? I'm going to these games and they don't care. It's hard for me to care. Listen, I look at the social media streams just like you guys. And I see fans frustrated and blow it up, leave the Suns in 2024, trade Kevin Durant. I'm seeing all these things, and I'm just like, man, I can't believe these fans care. The Suns are lucky to have a fan base that still cares, because with the effort that they're giving on the floor, it's hard for me to care. So with that being said, the Bradley Beal thing, he's got to play. Ryan Dunn, Josh Okogie, there's got to be a way to get these guys more minutes, even if they're not the most effective shooters. And I get it. Ryan Dunn has his deficiencies offensively. So does Josh Okogie. But hell, at least these guys try. I saw Ryan Dunn tonight block a couple of guys. Played very good defense. I saw him get frustrated with Kevin Durant down the court because Kevin Durant made a bad pass on a fast break. Josh Okogie's diving on the floor. These guys are trying to set the tone, but they can't because they're role players. Put them in the game. And I don't care who you bench because of it. I don't care how much you average. I don't care how much money you make. You're going to get it anyways. This team lacks heart. They lack hustle. They lack a want to. And that's why the Memphis Grizzlies won tonight. So with that being said, how do we fix it? Because a lot of it is just kind of me at this point getting very frustrated with this Phoenix Suns team. So what do we do? How do we fix it? What at this point do you do for the Phoenix Suns? Because at this point, it's just becoming redundant. So let's talk about that next. First, today's show is also brought to you by Rocket Money. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot that you were paying for twice? Listen, that has happened to me multiple times. For me, it's for the longest time, it was podcasting platforms that I'm spending money on that I'm not even realizing that I'm still spending on it, but not using it. Or for me, it was streaming platforms such as numerous different things, and I'm paying money to it, but I'm not using it. I recently had to go through all these things to clean it up. You know what I could have just done? I could have just used Rocket Money. It makes it so easy to track all these subscriptions down that you're not even paying for. It's like having your own personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal financing app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitoring your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or the goals you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users, and it has saved a total of $500 million. That's million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. For me, the best feature on the subscription tracker, I've seen people use it. I've used it to cancel services I wasn't using anymore, and I've already saved a ton. With their goals, features, I've been able to automatically set money aside for my future. No more stressing about it or budgeting for it every month. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. All right. I feel like it shouldn't be me that does all right, let's close it out, because that's mainly Brendan's thing. But before I get into what the Suns need to do to fix some of these things, I just want to read off some of the statistics tonight from the Suns game that I'm sure some of you might be aware of, but some of you maybe not so. This Suns team only got up 33-point shots tonight, only made 9 of them. They are consistently not finding a way they are consistently not finding an identity. They have no idea what to lean on when everything isn't working perfectly, and it just gets frustrating after a while. Meanwhile, the Memphis Grizzlies did well in all the hustle stats: 27 assists, 51 rebounds, and 16 offensive rebounds, out-rebounding the Phoenix Suns tonight, who absolutely got pulverized down low and continues to show why their front court issues continue to be that a main issue. The Suns only 10 offensive rebounds tonight and 43 defense or 43 rebounds total. I wanted to get to some of the team stats tonight. I know the second chance points were a big deal tonight. Immediately fast break points. That was pretty much the only thing the Suns did well tonight. In the paint, we're able to score a few more points. The second chance points is something that I was trying to look for, but for some reason, not being able to grab it. The Grizzlies at this point, 14 points in this, or 14-point lead was their biggest one, but ultimately at the end, or was their biggest lead, and ultimately in this game, the Suns never led. But overall, hustle stats were the biggest thing for this team. This is where I want to end today's show. Something has to change. And it is clear that nothing is going to change just like this. It's not going to. I'm sorry. There is no variation of this Suns team where it is a championship contender without drastic mental changes. But I don't know if you can teach them to have a want to, have a killer instinct, go do the gritty plays that are not sexy and not just efficient shooting. I'm looking at the stars of this team, and I've already said them enough times today. I don't need to say it again. This team's got to be better. What is going to change this team is just a different set of eyes. And I got to be honest with you. I have real concerns. And we saw it again today, the Jimmy Butler hair. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not too sure if it is something. I'm sure it is. This guy's an elite level troller. But the only thing that is going to fix this Suns team is a trade. I don't know what that trade is. Could be Jimmy Butler. It could be Nick Richards. It could be a wing out there that you might want, that you've had your eyes on, a Deron Sharp over with the Brooklyn Nets, or who knows, maybe even a Marcus Smart from the Memphis Grizzlies who did not play tonight. But something has to change. You got to get a reset in here. And I understand, I know, another reset. That's probably not going to fix anything. You have to try something. But at this point, the Suns they're just flailing and they're failing. And things are not going as we wanted them to go. It's time to make a trade. James Jones, the clock is ticking. And I understand there are a lot of people that want James Jones out of here. I could go either way without it. I don't really think he's running the show, but he is the general manager. Go get Jimmy Butler. Go get what it takes to give it up. Get something different in here. I'm not so sure Jimmy Butler is going to fix all the team's front court issues. In fact, I think it may become worse because you're going to have to trade a Yusuf Nurkic and a 2021 first-round pick for him. Or I'm sorry, you're going to have to trade a Bradley Beal and a 2021 first-round pick, and then you're going to have to try to scramble to find something else for Yusuf Nurkic. I don't know. He's not going to fix the Suns' front court deficiencies. But, man, you need someone in here who's got a killer instinct, who's got a will to win and just loves basketball. And, man, he might not even want to be here by tomorrow morning, given how bad this Suns team has looked. He's not exactly helping their cause. But this Suns team, we saw the reports, right? They want to evaluate what this team looks like before they make any rash decisions. Well, TikTok, it's time to make some rash decisions. Because losing to the Warriors and losing to the Mavericks, and now at this point, losing to the Grizzlies. Mavs without Luka Doncic and the Grizzlies without Ja Morant, it ain't working. It's not working. I will not say blow it up. You're not blowing up a team in the middle of the season. You will then be getting negative equity back from this team. It's like Brendan said yesterday. It's why the Kevin Durant trade was so insane. Those big trades don't usually happen. You're seeing this out through the rest of the year. So if we're going to do that, shake it up again. Shake it up. I don't know if it's a Nick Richards. I don't know if it's a Marcus Smart. I don't know if it's a Jimmy Butler. But barring an insane mental and cultural shift for this Suns team, nothing is going to change. So if nothing's going to change, an outside force needs to come in and help straighten some things out for the Suns team, especially defensively. Man, I would love a Jimmy Butler mental defensive guide for the Suns team. It's incredibly frustrating. And I understand that's not the fix that everyone wants. People want me to say run more pick and rolls or zone defenses or backside cuts or get out and transition more. All these basketball terms, guys, we've turned over almost every stone at this point. It's time to shake things up. It's time to shake things up. And no, they're not blowing it up. I can't believe I saved this part of the show for the last part of the show. But they're not blowing it up. Just stop with that. I understand you want them to, and in the summertime, I likely will as well. But we're going to see this through. You will get negative assets back if you try to ship out Kevin Durant and in February. You will get negative assets back if you try to ship out Devin Booker, which I'm not in favor of. This team needs a major mental and cultural shift. And I think the only way that gets fixed is if you send someone's ass out that door. I don't know if it's Bradley Beal. I don't know if it's Yusuf Nurkic, but someone's got to send a message that what we are watching is not okay. At least I feel a little better now. The Phoenix Suns ultimately lose to Memphis Grizzlies 117-112. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being an everydayer. Don't forget to sign up for the Suns newsletter. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend about Locked On Phoenix Suns. Become an everydayer with us. I am so sorry, Suns fans, that you have to bring in the new year with a Suns loss. Don't let the Suns bring you down. Keep on at it with your New Year's resolutions. I don't know if I have a New Year's resolution yet. I said this to someone in the media room. It was just more so for me to just get better at my craft, get better at this with you guys. I love interacting with you guys. I love talking with you guys. You guys are the best fan support on YouTube. I thoroughly believe that, especially with some of the people that I've met in person, some of the listeners. So I appreciate that as well. And I couldn't be more thankful. And I'm so excited to bring in a new year with you guys. More Suns coverage, more insane rants, more me and Brendan going back and forth at each other, and people questioning if we even like each other. And the answer to that question is, I guess we'll know. I guess we'll know soon, hopefully. Who knows? I'm not going to tell you. So with that being said, guys, thank you for sharing, and subscribing. And we will talk. Brendan and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.